If you like suspenseful, thrilling horror films, then Strange Darling is the film for you. But the less you know going in, the better off you are, so don't let anyone spoil this film for you. The film, directed by J.T. Molnar, working from a script he penned, is broken into non-linear chapters with chapter cards and titles, and from the very first chapter, Strange Darling takes you by the hand and pulls you right, then left, then forward, then backwards, then mixes it up a bit just to keep you on your toes. As the viewer, you will constantly be unsure of what is coming next, and each turn will leave you glued to your seat as the mayhem ensues with a suspense that ingrains in you that anything can and will happen. Everything is not as it seems in this film, and Molnar knows just when to zig and when to zag, keeping you enthralled by what potentially could be coming next. Even when you think you know where the film's going, you quickly find out that you don't know shit. Now, Molnar, directing his second feature film, has crafted a film with its own unique twisted style that is reminiscent to me of a slicker version of a 70s serial killer horror movie. It's as if he took the feeling of those 70s horror movies, mixed in just a dash of Nicholas Winding Refn style, and voila, you have what I think will be a modern classic. Molnar's script is tight, and he displays a deft hand at crafting compelling and yet disturbing dialogue between our two main characters. It helps that he may be getting a star-making performance from Willa Fitzgerald, who shines so bright in this performance that one can't help but reflect that this can't be the same actress from Reacher Season 1, can it? And yes, it is the same actress. And it is understandable that one could ask this question because her performance in Reacher is much more subdued and doesn't allow her to show her range. But for me personally, it speaks volumes that I still even remember her from Reacher. Now, Fitzgerald is putting on a masterclass in acting, from her emotional range to her body language, which shifts from chapter to chapter, and this shift is necessary to show the character's motivations from chapter to chapter. In my opinion, Fitzgerald's performance is a star-making performance, but only time will tell if Hollywood recognizes her. The other lead of the movie is Kyle Gallner, whom you may recognize from a number of other roles over the past 20 years. Gallner, whose character is simply titled The Demon in the credits, is engaging here and holds his own next to Fitzgerald, but it is clearly Fitzgerald who is the shining star of this movie. Both Fitzgerald and Gallner's characters are engaged in a game of cat and mouse, and it is that chase aspect of the film which keeps the viewer engaged. One would think that the non-linear aspect of the film would not lend itself to an engaging cat and mouse scenario, but the non-linear aspect appears to give the audience enough time to breathe as the story moves from the chaotic cat and mouse chapters to chapters that have more exposition-like introductory scenes, and these exposition breaks allow the audience to participate with the movie more by giving them time at the beginning of some chapters to try and piece together what the hell is going on. Fitzgerald's and Gallner's characters' relationship throughout the film is disturbing, and yet so compelling. As you piece together the motive of each character, you are constantly confronted with character actions that force you to reassess each character's motivations. Eventually, there comes a point in the film where you know what is going on, and each character's motivations are much clearer. But this doesn't take away from your viewing pleasure or interest, but rather allows you to sit back and enjoy the twisted, disturbing mayhem that is the conclusion of the chase. Now, an aspect of the film that I also really appreciated was that it had enough well-timed levity to keep the film from being a one-note film. By this, I mean that sometimes a horror film can use levity to help break the tension in the audience, and using levity in the right way allows for the horror moments to have more impact as the audience is allowed to relax after a moment of humor before being hit with the mayhem again, which jolts them and keeps them on their toes as viewers. Now, Molnar is really bringing his A-game, and when a director is able to mix horror, suspense, and humor to such good effect, it portends to his future success. Now, the film's third and final act brings a confrontation between our two main characters that constantly had me wondering what is up the director's sleeve, as I was sure we hadn't reached a conclusion, even when a conclusion seemed inevitable. And then Molnar springs the trap on the audience, and while you figured it was coming, it is so beautifully disturbing that it's like a high note in music that just adds to the depth of the song, or in this case, the depth of the character development. Yes, character development. I feel like I know a particular character even more, and I am thoroughly disgusted by that character. Yet I want that character's story to go on, and I want to see everything that's going to happen to them. I'm not ready to leave the theater. I was glued to my seat wanting to see more. The conclusion of the film feels well earned, yet there is that I want more sentiment, which great films leave you with. In conclusion, I highly recommend Strange Darling. If you love disturbing, twisted horror suspense movies, this will be right up your alley. And keep an eye out for my spoiler-filled review after you've seen this delightfully disturbing film.